Hey there, greetings. I hope you're doing swell on this very hot Thursday in St. Louis. My gosh, the heat wave. Well, the Cardinals aren't hot. We know that. What a disastrous road trip, Colorado or Arizona, then Colorado. You can probably read a column on that here. In fact, there is a column I wrote about it at STL Sports Central. You can check that out. I'm Bernie Mikolas, and this is the Bernie Show presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Just a reminder of what I do. I want to keep you on the loop here on STL Sports Central. I do one video per day and one column per day from Monday through Friday. I got to earn my paycheck. I appear on the Randy Carricker Show every Friday at 10:30 a.m. You can hear me frequently, that is, talking baseball and KMOX as part of the Gas House Gang and the Redbird Rush Hour shows, also sports on a Sunday morning. I do the Cardinal Territory video podcast with the fantastic Katie Wu, and I do a weekly Seeing Red Cardinals podcast with my longtime friend Will Leach. And make sure you really support all of our work here at STL Sports Central, where we just keep continuing pumping out great content about all the teams that you follow. Today's topic, we're going to go back to John Mozeliak again. You might be getting sick of me talking about him. I get it, but my gosh, he's probably the number one story of the season, and he is for somebody like me, as far as like, well, what do I want to talk about today? He's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. I look forward to talking about some other things, but I think that John Mozeliak, more than anybody in terms of Cardinals baseball right now, is in the news, and he will continue to be in the news, prominently so, through the trade deadline, which is a week from today. So with that all said, John Mozeliak finally rid the team of the Erick Fedde problem. It was too late, too little, but very significant in other ways. The Cardinals disappeared from the face of the earth on Wednesday afternoon in their 6-0 mail-it-in loss to the Rockies. In what's becoming a trend, sadly, the Cardinals failed to compete, which can no longer be downplayed or dismissed as just a little slump or something, right? I keep talking about this. The Cardinals have not been a good team since the end of May. And I'm not sure why some hard-headed individuals out there in the media or whatever, they like don't get that. They focus on, well, they're having a bad July. They haven't been good since really they started to fall apart on May 30th, and it's just gotten worse and worse. Anyway, I'm kind of obnoxious talking about that, but I don't know. I can't explain it, why I get so irritated with it. Anyway, sorry. With this bad look dud of a game and a horrendous road trip, the Cardinals season reached a new low, and manager Oli Marmol, I give him credit, he called the team's performance at Coors Field Wednesday the worst game they've played this season. I think we all concur. My gosh, look, I know Andre Pallante put him in a hole. Okay, and that's a regular occurrence as well. The Cardinals starting pitchers, except for Michael McGreevy, putting them in a big hole early. But is that any excuse for like the Cardinals hitters as they walked the home plate? It was, basically a zombie parade. I mean, come on, guys, grind it out. We've been all patting you on the back for being fighters and grinders and resilient and tough-minded. Come on, where is that? Is it all gone? The Rockies had played their last 159 home games without shutting out a visiting team, and the Cardinals were happy to do it by basically rolling over, metaphorically speaking, and taking a 9-inning nap. I will say this, though. I did find it kind of funny that so many people were stunned, shocked by the Cardinals losing a series to the lowly Rockies. Granted, the Rocks have a 26-76 record. It's the worst in the majors, sure. But in case you missed it, the Cardinals have the worst record in the majors during July. The Cardinals are 5-12, and Colorado's 8-11 this month. And since June the 1st, the Cardinals are 19-26, and the Rockies are 17-27. Like, big whoop. What's that a difference? Like a game and a half? So why should we act like the Rockies beating the Cardinals at Coors Field is like some sort of baseball apocalypse, all right? The Cardinals, like the Rockies, have been a bad team over the last 53 days of the season, and the Rockies merely reaffirmed that by taking the Redbirds down in Denver. Before Wednesday's game, of course, the Cardinals designated Fedde for assignment, thus bringing an end to this sorry chapter in the Mozeliak history that made Mo look worse than ever as the baseball leader of this franchise. I want to update a note I wrote yesterday. This season, 67 major league starting pitchers have worked 100 innings or more. 67 pitchers. Fedde ranks 65th in ERA, 65th in fielding independent ERA, 66th in swing and miss rate, last in strikeout rate, last in walks and hits allowed per inning, and last in strikeout walk ratio. Fedde's go-to pitch is the cutter. He throws a lot of them, and according to Sports Info Solutions, the Fedde cutter was the worst in the major leagues this season. I mean, I could go on, but you get the point. Mozeliak just sat there, stood there, whatever, and just watched Fedde disintegrate. And Mozeliak stood his ground with his Fedde fantasy of getting something in a trade for him, and meanwhile watched his team's playoff chances deteriorate even more. All of this because Mo wanted to get something worthwhile for Fedde in a trade, even though Fedde's value was completely shot. The president of baseball ops wanted to prove to those who criticized his failure to trade Fedde last offseason that we were wrong and Mo was right. Fedde made some good starts earlier this season, and I kind of feel bad for the guy. He doesn't want to suck the way he has, right? It's kind of embarrassing. He's a decent man. But he ran out of luck and he ran out of confidence, and Mo just kind of let it happen before intervening way too late. You know, the fact that Fedde, just started getting trashed out there his last, I don't know what it was, I forget, 6 or 7 starts. No. His underlying metrics, and I talked about this, his underlying metrics were a flashing warning alert all season, but most people, including Mozeliak, ignored it. It was a matter of time, basically, for this thing went boom. With the Cardinals having a shot at making the playoffs, Fedde had a 6.38 ERA over his last 12 starts, and the Cardinals' record in those 12 starts was 2-10. This team was 5-15 when Fedde started a game this season, and they were 8-22 in Fedde's 30 starts as a Cardinal since Mozeliak got him from the White Sox last summer. The deal made sense at the time. It really did, despite the comical attempts by some people to engage in stupid revisionist history. But, everyone can say what they want. The Cardinals sent Tommy Edman to the Dodgers in a 3-team trade. The Cardinals received Fedde and outfielder Tommy Pham in return. Mozeliak's trade was praised nationally and locally at the time for good reason. Mozeliak, Fedde had a great first half for the White Sox. Cardinals needed a starting pitcher. He only had a year left on his contract. It seemed like a good play to me. And Mozeliak had a solid reason for parting with Tommy Edman. And this is another example, as some people are like completely revising history and pretending that Mo just like randomly decided to trade Tommy Edman, like Tommy Edman was having a great season or Tommy Edman had been on a roll and all this other stuff. Number one, here's the reality check. This is a truth check. Tommy Edman was injured and had not played a game all season before the trade. Number two, Edman's contract was due to expire after the 2025 season, and there was zero chance of the Cardinals giving him a contract extension. Three, the Cardinals are already overloaded with middle infielders, and they had a young center fielder that they liked who was on the horizon. Talking about Victor Scott. Now, all of that said, the bottom line is the bottom line, and ultimately the trade was a failure. That's obvious, and no one would dispute that except maybe for John Mozeliak and his family or Bill DeWitt, right? But the point here is we can agree that the trade went bad. It was a bust, even though the intentions were good. It didn't work out. Failure. But the point is that Mozeliak only made it worse by hanging on to Fedde when he could have cashed him in at a higher value last winter. I've heard some people in the media that I love and respect and all that stuff saying, "Oh no, he didn't. That would have been a mistake." No. The Cardinals weren't set up to make a run to the World Series this year. The point is you cast your net to the future a little bit. You try to get something worthwhile and meaningful for Fedde when you had a chance. You say, well, who would have? They don't have depth. Okay, granted. There were all kinds of pitchers out there that could have been signed for a bargain price. I mean, the Brewers signed Jose Quintana to a pretty reasonable deal, 1 year. There were 1 year deals available for all kinds of starting pitchers. You swap Fedde out because you can get something for him in a trade, something good, and then you plug in. If you don't want to plug in McGreevy at the beginning of the season, Michael McGreevy, well, you plug in your guy on a 1 year deal and you ride it out with him for a while. You're not going to win the National League pennant. You never were. So what was the point of all of this? If it's a runway season, the runway leads to 2026. And you got to think 2026 in the forefront of your thinking, of your brain. So having screwed up the chance to cash in on Fedde, Mozeliak hung with Fedde all season, and Fedde's value went down to, well, nothing, okay? And Mozeliak did not acknowledge the obvious until the 23rd day of July after the damage had been done. And in doing so, Mozeliak blocked rookie Michael McGreevy from becoming a regular member of the rotation, even as that rotation began to crater and just completely crack and fall apart. For the record, St. Louis starting pitching has the worst ERA in the majors since May 30, even though people in the media in this town just keep talking about, well, their ERA in July is really bad. The ERA's been really bad since the end of May, okay? They ranked 25th for the season, and they have the worst starting pitching ERA since May 30th. As I joked in my updated column yesterday after that game, I had already filed the column. I went in and added some stuff because I figured some people would check on it later or didn't get a chance to read it earlier, whatever. As I joked in the updated column yesterday, Mozeliak designated Fedde for assignment. Well, Bill DeWitt should have designated Mozeliak for assignment a long time ago. Just look at all the damage that has been done because of DeWitt's decision to stand by his man, Mozeliak. And I'm going to get into that in my next segment, and I think you're going to want to listen to it. But first, I want to tell you about DraftKings and their daily Pick 6 fantasy game. This summer and the season, rolling by fast. And if you love baseball, you can have even more fun by jumping into the action in the daily DraftKings Pick 6 fantasy game. If you do it now, there's still plenty of baseball season left to enjoy. And part of the enjoyment can be after you download the Pick 6 app and get in the game. It's so simple. You just pick more or higher or less or lower, whatever you want to term it. DraftKings sets a line every day for a particular player's performance, and you go above it or below it. And good luck. That's how you win. So you picked at least two of those players, or two players or more, for your chance to win that shot at the big money, right? Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri, so there's nothing to hold you back. I really enjoy playing DraftKings Pick 6 Fantasy, and I think you will look too. Last Saturday, I went 3 for 3 in my Pick 6 Fantasy picks and collected $90 on a $10 entry. I'll take that. Don't settle for smaller payouts at other places because DraftKings is the best and they are the most generous, and you just switch to Pick 6 and you'll be better off because you'll be at the right place at the right time for winning cash. Right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus money with their first deposit of $5. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now. Do it and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus money with the first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the second segment of Thursday's Bernie Show. And yeah, I'm fired up. I mean, that's a good thing. The Cardinals just completed that horrific road trip, losing 5 of 6 games to Arizona and Colorado. They were outscored 38-17 in the 6 games. And except for one guy, and I think you know who that is, except for one guy, their starting pitching was utterly demolished during this road trip. Sonny Gray, Miles Mikolas, Erick Fedde, and Andre Pallante were smashed for 28 earned runs in 20 innings for a 12.60 ERA. The only starter who turned in a stellar performance was the rookie Michael McGreevy, who went 7 innings at Coors Field, gave up only 2 runs in the 6-2 win Monday over the Rockies. And as I noted for you earlier this week, that was one of the best starts made by a visiting team starting pitcher at Coors Field this season. Now, how's all this for irony? The dude that Mozeliak's front office drafted in the first round in 2021, the dude that Mozeliak had blocked all season, even though this kid was ready to be a regular in the big league rotation. That same dude that Mozeliak said, no, we got to stay with Fedde. That dude stepped up and he stepped up big and was responsible for the team's only win during a ruinous disaster of a road trip. Over the last 2 seasons, and I don't care if it's a small sample or not, you either win or you don't. Over the last 2 seasons, the Cardinals are 6-1 when McGreevy starts a game, and 8-1 when he works in a game. He has a 3.38 ERA as a starting pitcher, and 5 of his 7 starts produced an above average game score. And the game score is something that Bill James devised to basically give you a snap judgment on a starting pitching performance. And 5 of McGreevy's 7 starts have been above average. So he deserved, for many reasons, a shot in this rotation. But nope, Mo knows best. Remember that, people. Mo knows best. The rest of us are dummies. Mo wanted to keep Mikolas and Fedde in the rotation, even though the team's record over the last 2 seasons. All right, listen carefully. The team's record over the last 2 seasons is 102 and 82 when Mikolas or Fedde don't start a game. That's a .554 winning percentage. And you're probably wondering, okay, well, what about when they do start a game? Okay. When Fedde or Mikolas have started a game over the last 2 seasons, the Cardinals in those starts are 33 and 48 for a winning percentage of .407. Geez, I wonder why you would want to put McGreevy in there for Fedde or Mikolas. Sure, those numbers are really ugly, and I think it's more about Fedde than Mikolas. And I'm not saying that these guys are solely to blame for the team's terrible record when they have started those games, but. And I wanted to be fair. So wait a minute, because the Cardinals got Fedde in a trade, and he didn't make his first start until August 2nd of last season. So I said, okay, the fairer thing to do is look at the team's record from August 2 up until now, and I included the Mikolas starts from that point last season, from August 2 on to the end of the 2024 season. So then I stitched all this together, and I included the team's record in their starts from August 2nd of last season up until Wednesday. And here's what I came up with. Since Fedde made his Cardinal debut, the team is 22 and 37 when Fedde or Mikolas started a game. 373 winning percentage. I said a 373 winning percentage. And when all of the other Cardinals pitchers have started a game since last August the 2nd, the Redbirds are 57 and 40 for a 588 winning percentage. Now, rewind this for a few seconds if you want to hear those numbers again. It's amazing, the difference. And it's no coincidence because in their combined starts for the Cardinals over the last 2 seasons, Mikolas and Fedde have collectively pitched to a 5.08 ERA. They stink, okay? They've been a big drag on the rotation and a big drag on this team and a big drag on any chance the Cardinals had to make a good chance to make the playoffs if you agree that they did at least one point this season. And I would argue that Mikolas and Fedde were also a drag, and Mikolas still is, on this team's morale. Mikolas still is because of his smug refusal to take any responsibility for his rotten pitching performances. I mean, gosh almighty, I wonder what teammates think when they hear that stuff. He's giving up bombs all over the place. And it's like, oh, I pitched pretty solid. I talked about that the other day. I still can't shake that yet. Listen, I know a lot of y'all don't like manager Ali Marmol, whatever. You like what you like. You dislike what you like. It's your choice. I don't care. Marmol, though, was strongly in favor of putting McGreevy in the rotation and moving Fedde to the side, but Mozeliak refused. And once again, let me remind you, Mozeliak, as all people that lead a baseball operation in the majors, those guys set the big league roster. The manager doesn't. You got to play the roster that you're handed. And Mozeliak refused to accommodate Marmol's wishes because, after all, why would Marmol want to win games? Why would Marmol want to? What could he possibly be thinking? Hey, this team's got a shot at making the postseason, but we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. Mozeliak didn't care. And Marmol, as time went on, and I know this from, doing me and Tom Ackerman and Chris Ranji do this thing with Marmol every Tuesday. And I think it's actually pretty good. And we do ask him tough questions. I mean, Ali likes tough questions, by the way. But Marmol became more and more public in making his preference obvious. He really wanted McGreevy. And if he wanted McGreevy, I'm thinking that, the Cardinals teammates, who, although they felt bad for Fedde and liked him, they probably wanted a better shot at winning. Because how do you get to the postseason when 40% of your rotation stinks? It's not going to happen. But we have to remember that after the Tony La Russa managerial era, and he was one of the strongest personalities and leaders in the history of the game. And Mozeliak, it's not like he took orders from La Russa, but La Russa could be just a forceful guy. And I think Mozeliak probably deferred on some things. I know he did, because he was a first-time leader of a baseball operation. So my theory, and I'm guilty of practicing psychology without a license, my theory is that after La Russa retired, Mozeliak was like, okay, now I'm in charge. And he's always made it known that he's in charge, and he won't put up with some little manager telling him what to do, right? And that even includes, ironically, giving Ali Marmol a contract extension when Mozeliak previously said he wasn't going to do that. And then he changed his mind in spring training, whatever year that was, and then well, I'm in charge, and if I want to reward Ali, I'm going to do it. I don't care what I said 3 months ago. It's just pure madness. So, knowing all this, of course, Mo would reject Marmol's desire to make the team better by using McGreevy instead of Fedde. Well, Mozeliak finally had no choice after that horrific performance Tuesday night by Fedde, the poor dude. Mozeliak finally let reality take control over his ego, and he dumped Fedde. But Marmol is still stuck with Mikolas, statistically one of the worst starting pitchers in Major League Baseball since the start of 2023. He is also a pitcher who, among other things, threw his new teammate Wilson Contreras under the bus early in 2023 by blaming Contreras for his own terrible pitching. Michaelis has no shame, and yet he is still here. Mikolas should be bounced, but that won't happen because of another Mozeliak failure, or two actually. He twice extended Mikolas's contract. The results, awful. And also, there is no starting pitching depth at Memphis, and Mozeliak always mentions that as if it's somebody else's fault. It's like, well, we really don't have the starting pitching depth at Memphis, so if we take one guy out, we just don't have a lot to lean on. Well, who's responsible for that? I mean, there were ways to add pitching depth at AAA Memphis. There were all kinds of major league pitchers, fringy major league pitchers available that you could assign to a minor league contract just to fill some spots down there and to have a little backup. So yeah, there's not, because of some injuries down there, there's not any real starting pitching depth in Memphis. There's no one to call on, but that's on Mozeliak. He wants us to think he was independent of all of this or something. Like I said, this is just pure craziness. And the Cardinals, after the Cardinals exceeded expectations, Mozeliak undermined his manager and his team. The starting pitching faded, it cracked. That was the breaking point, and the two pitchers protected by Mo, his guys, Mikolas and Fedde, had a lot to do with that. The lack of depth in this organization is appalling, but once again, who's responsible for that? If you have the title of president of baseball operations and you are now, the emperor of all things Cardinal baseball, right? All of it's on you. The success you can share in and take credit for, the failures are on you, although Mozeliak's a cagey guy. He's a cagey guy. He knows that there is such a obsession out there with Oli Marmol and people who blame him for everything. That's another reason why Marmol actually has a lot of value to Mozeliak, because Marmol is the punching bag, because he's answering questions twice a day with the media. And then the fans get all riled up by what he says, and they get distracted from what a failure Mozeliak is. And Mo knows that, Oli Marmol is just going to take a lot of heat, and people are going to blame everything on him. Like I said, Mo's smart about some things. Running a baseball team the last few years, that ain't one of them. No. As Mozeliak moves closer to the end of his term as president of baseball operations, I'm going to be quick with this, but let's just think about all the damage he has done to the franchise, especially after the Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina farewell season in 2022. And that's also when Goldschmidt and Arenado were great. But since then, franchise popularity damaged, franchise brand damaged, turning a happy fan base into a very unhappy fan base, damaged. Ticket revenue, damaged. TV ratings, damaged. Loss of national prominence and prestige, damaged. A disappearance from the October stage, which had become a St. Louis baseball tradition, damaged. A .482 winning percentage that ranks 22nd in the majors over the last 3 seasons, damaged. The collapse of the player development system, damage. The inability to draft and develop quality starting pitching, damage. The repercussions are still there. Constantly overrating the team's talent and the prospects, and hyping these guys up, and then they don't pan out, and then they trade him and they do better in other places. Damage. Firing a manager who stood up to him. Hello, Mike Schilt. Welcome to town. Damage. I could sit here for another hour or so and add more to the Mozeliak damage list. I think I said his name wrong there, and I apologize. That was not intentional. As someone who has a difficult last name, I know what that's like. Anyway, John Mozeliak has cost Bill DeWitt a lot of revenue, and John Mozeliak's the number one reason for the Cardinals' decline from being one of the most prestigious and successful Major League Baseball franchises really since 1996, when the Cardinals, when Bill DeWitt took over, and they've had a lot of success, and it's been bad lately, but they've had a lot of success. But you might be thinking, and I get it. I got you. Well, but wait a minute, Bernie, but Bill DeWitt's ultimately responsible for this. Yes, he is. Because Bill DeWitt Jr., the chairman, stood by Mozeliak the way Mozeliak stood by Erick Fedde. So let's think about that a second. DeWitt stood by Mo the way Mo stood by Fedde when it was obvious to everyone that you got to do better than this. So my little tiny brain was working, and I thought to myself, I guess we could say that Mozeliak is Bill DeWitt's version of Erick Fedde. Right? Yeah, I think so. That's it. I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks for watching. Much appreciation to you all. Even if you're mad at me, I appreciate when you watch and leave and you subscribe, you hit the like button, you leave your comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, thank you to DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show. You all have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and stay cool. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll have a column up in a little while at STL Sports Central. Thank you.